Good afternoon and welcome guys to another session with myself, Darren Baton from Elite EDM Stars. And right, first of all, today this is something slightly a little bit different than normal. This is new to me just as much as it is to you guys. This is future bass. I've never done future bass before. I've got a template. I've found a template that we're going to walk through, and we're just going to sort of break it down. I can't show you the synthesizers behind it because unfortunately I don't have Serum, and they are the presets are frozen, so the tracks are frozen. But I can walk you through sort of the structuring, how the tracks put together, and you'll get an idea of sort of how the layout of a track, a future bass track, can start to sort of be put together, and that's the main aim today. So it's as much as a learning curve for myself as it is you guys. I've had a look through the templates, tried to understand what's going on, but it is new to me. Secondly, before I move on and we get straight into this, I just want to ask you guys what you want to learn, because as I said before, it is all about you guys. It's not just about me. I'm putting together content. I'm trying to put different content together every week, but it helps if you guys leave a comment and let me know what you're interested in, what types of music you're interested in, and what types of sound design you want to learn, things like that. Just drop some questions or some comments down below, and while you're there, hit the like button and also consider subscribing to the channel. Cheers guys, and without further ado, let's move on and we'll get straight into this future bass track. So I'm just going to switch over and you can see what's going on, and then we can get rid of that. Okay, so I'm going to say let's get some real estate into the track. Now you can see, first of all, the first thing we notice that the BPM is 150 BPM. Now I'm going to play through the track. You can see the track is broken down into lots of different detail. We've got drums here, different drum sections going on. So there's two different drum groups, sort of intro drums and then the sort of build up drop drums as well. So you can see that they approach, first of all, that this is done on two different stages. Now first of all, the template is it's an edmtemplates.net. It's a future bass template. Just thought I'd let you know that. This is by no means my template or anything. It's just something that I've come across as a free download to actually be able to take a look inside and find out what's going on. So I've signed up to various different sort of free downloads, templates and all kinds of things on SoundCloud, and followed sort of different sound gates on Pump My Sound, and sometimes the sample packs, free templates, and I just try and download things to try and understand what's going on. Really, it really does help, because sometimes you might want to do a house track with a future bass drop, which I think would sound really cool, and also this style of future bass, because the tempo is 150, it's quite close to drum and bass tempo. So when you listen to it, you'll see that some of the sections on the build-up actually start to sound like a drum and bass track, and you can actually imagine this future bass drop in a drum and bass track as well. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to play through the track so you can have a quick listen. I'm not going to play through all of the track because you can see it's quite a repeated step. This is then dropped again, so we've got another breakdown. So we've got an intro, a kick in, a build up, a drop, a transition, another breakdown, kick in, another build up, a drop two, and then the outro. And you can see that this is almost mimicking this. So we've got this section here, which is almost exactly the same again, going across to here, and then our outro. Okay, so we're not including this section here, so we're starting here. So you can see that it's almost, this section replicates this section here, and then we've got this little breakdown section going on, and you can see there's quite a lot of synthesizers. Like I said, these tracks are frozen because I don't have Serum. Serum is the device used for this, probably a future bass patch. What I could do is maybe duplicate it. I've got I'm going to unfreeze the track, and I've got maybe some future bass sounds. I could drop my silent on here. And I think I've got some future bass patches, I'm not sure, but it's finding sounds are quite similar. So what I do is I have to listen to the sound here and then try and find something very similar with this future bass patch. I'm not guaranteed I've got any. Let's have a quick look. No, EDM Bank 2020 packs, future bass. There we go. There's a future bass sound bank there. We've got a mixture of future bass, basses, keys, leads, and plucks, and synths there. So that's something that I could maybe, you know, start to replicate the sounds and learn the sound design that's going on inside each individual lead sound, bass sound. So find a sort of suitable sound pack, and then you can start to sort of shape this sound pack into your own future bass sound pack. But anyway, we'll come back to that maybe later, maybe we won't, let's see. But I'm going to play through so you can have a listen, and then you get an idea what we're going to start with. Okay, so that's part of the track. I'll break it down to different sections. You can see they're using quite a lot of samples for the drums. I'm just trying to open all of this up so that you can physically see what is going on. Just checking my microphone is on. So you can see a lot of samples going on, snare layers, reverse snare layers. And one of the most important things you should note, and especially about the timings. Let's have a look at this sample. 150 BPM, look. So everything's matching. Kits here. 150 BPM there. 150 BPM. 160 BPM on that one. 150. Now if you notice, look, it's the spacing. So when I'd normally make a kick drum here. So if I was to put a standard like 4 to the floor kick drum, and that's over 1 bar, you can see that that would duplicate 1, 2, 3, 4 like so. So you can see that the way that they've put there. So you can see that the kicks are 1, miss a bar on the second bar. So it's all about the timing. Obviously I've used a kick roll here. So you can see that's a standard 4 to the floor beat, which they use in a standard house track, but obviously because of the BPM being 150, it doesn't sound the same. It's quite fast. So if I was to do this and bring it right down to maybe a house tempo. And if you were writing a house track, for example, what you could do is then come in and maybe make a master tempo change. You come in and configure, you come into the tempo, I think somehow here, it's, I've got to try and configure this, maybe. No, I was just want to try and record a master tempo show automation. That's what I want to do, because the automation lanes are not on. So if you were writing a house track, for example, and you maybe got, you know, like a house track at the start of this, and you dropped into a future bass track, what you could do is obviously just change your tempos. So we could just start to speed the tempo up as we get here. Maybe start to ramp it up to 150 BPM. Do it slower, faster. When there's not much music going on, it's probably not so noticeable that the tempo's changing when the kicks are happening. So over this 2-bar space, you've got the chance to increase your tempo. Or vice versa, if you wanted this tempo and you wanted to bring it back down, obviously you could just bring it back down. So you slowly, so it's not too noticeable, and then when you get to the tempo of your track, you want to bring it right down to where you want it to. So just say 26 BPM. So it's not so noticeable as it's slowing down. So what I'm doing that for is if I was going to go back into a standard house beat, obviously in this case that's like a build up, and then this is a drop. It's almost like a slow down drop. So what they're trying to do is create some hype with the builds and the snares, but then they drop it back down to almost just bass and quietness and synths opening up. So just wanted to show you that, really, just to sort of bear that in mind, that you can play around with your tempo change and really do something quite unique with it. So let's go back up to 150 and let's walk through some of the other sections going on in the track. So as you can see, quite lots of things going on. Double crashes, again, everything's spaced out. And let me just go into 1-bar sections so we can see this a lot better, and maybe 2 bars would be even better, so we can see that things are dropping across 2 bars. Look, 1 bars and 2 bar sections. They're building everything up with the snares over a bar, so every bar rather than on every beat. So if we were to come onto a quarter beat, everything's sort of dropping on a half a bar. Look, so there's 1 bar there to the next bar, every half a bar with those main snares. Okay, so let's close down these drums. You can see what's going on, and then there's the percussion. Obviously, the percussion's the crashes, open hats, and look at the spacing, guys, on this. Look at the spacing on these cymbals. So literally just an open hat. Very sparse, very minimal, spaced out. So you've got to, if you're writing house beats, you've got to think, okay, a house beat usually runs over 1 bar, 2 bars, the full loop, maybe 4 bar to make it more interesting, and then you have maybe at the end of 8 bars a fill, the drum fill. This is totally different. So you're spacing out the sections. You can see even these brass sections, look, they could sort of come in at the end of a bar. So if we go back into 1 bar sections, you can see at the end of this bar, this brass section coming in, this tonal effect coming in on the downbeat, and then slightly on the offbeat here again at the last quarter of that bar. So it is really about building a drum loop first of all and getting that right, and then introducing your musical elements. So we'll have a look at the details here. So that's just brass, and then details number 2. It's a tonal effect. Okay, so there's a few other things going on. There's a bit of automation going on, obviously, with these vocals. we'll see here. So that's interesting. They're using a bass clef washout by the looks of the things. Let me add a device. It's not letting me do it. Oh, here we go. So we've got reverb, glitch 2, which I don't have, unfortunately. So unfortunately, you can see that there's 2 devices there, guys, on the glitch. Just checking everything's okay there. Yeah. So there's just 2 devices on the glitch here, and unfortunately I don't have that plugin, so I can't show you what's happening on the glitch. So there's an interesting glitch effect obviously taking place. We've also got what else have we got on automation? Bass clef and then glitch 2 again. So there's glitch, yeah. So there's reverb automation taking place on the reverb here. By the looks of it, the reverb just comes on and off. So that's what we've got going on there. A few different, obviously, bass clef. Let's have a look at the bass clef vocals. No, it's not what I'm after. That's what I want, is washout. Thank you. So you can see that the washout is coming up here, just washing out that last bit of the vocal there, just carrying it through. So you can see what they're doing there. They're just sort of pushing it through, so it carries the effect right through, gives it a full washout as it's gone past the effect, and then back down again. Okay, so on to some of the more interesting stuff is the synths. You'll probably want to know how these have been put together. Let's start off with the guitar. So this is the guitar chop, and I'll show you what they've done with the sample. So as you can see, what they've done, guys, is basically just chop that sample up and then change into different sections. So that's just a different section there. If I just highlight that for you. Oh, sorry, that one there as well. So just a filter on it, so just brightening up again, coming up with the filter. Not much else going on there. There's reverb on. Okay, so we've got this organ. find out what key it is in roughly. Looks like a G. Could be a G major. Let's just try a minor. Yeah, it could be a minor as well. It could be a minor by looking at the notes here in the scale. Hang on, we've got an E there, so that's not in the scale. Let's go into a major. Is there an E in it? Yeah, it looks like it's in a major, G major scale. Looking at all the notation that's hitting there. Let me just fold the scale. Let's have a look, see, we can work this out. So you can see that all of these notes fit the scale. So it's a G major scale by the looks of things. Root note being G. Let me just unscale it again. And then let's go into a minor, and we can see if I scale it, you can see that these notes here, look, are not in the scale. These are E notes here. These B notes also are not in the scale. So you can see there, just on the left hand side, they're not in the scale, so it's definitely a G major. And that's what I love about Ableton Live 11 now, because I'm not brilliant at music theory. I understand music theory. I got quite good qualifications at university in music theory, but I still struggle sometimes, just certain things. But now I've learned to obviously understand things a lot more. Majors and minor relatives are quite simple, and usual triads and chords. It's just when it starts getting a little bit more complex after that, sustained fourth and blah blah blah, that's when it starts blowing my head apart. But this is really helping me understand, you know, what something's written in, just by looking at it, reverse engineering, analysing it. So as you can see, we're in the G major scale here. All these notes fit, and as I say, unfortunately I can't show you the sound design behind it because I don't have the synthesizers. We've got a Reese bass going on here. Sorry about that, guys. I'll just see if I could hear a bass sound, but it doesn't seem to be playing. Okay, let's move on to these other synths here, these synth sounds. Let's take a look at some of these. You can see some of these sections put in. And let's put our scale on, and let's go to G major, and you can see that these notes are not in particularly in this scale. So we might be in a minor with these, and then again we're not in a G. So these could be in a B. So we've got a B minor or a major. It could be a B major. Again, those notes seem to be fitting into the scale. Let's go into a minor, and you can see the no again. So it's a B major. So we've got a G major or a B major. So we could be in B major. So that's going to be interesting. So what I'm going to do, go quickly just to check, is go back to that other MIDI riff. Sorry, that's the atmosphere. I don't want that. I kind of lost my path. Oh, here we are, the organ. I'm going to go into this and look, put that into a B and see if the notes still fit. And the D's are not there. Look, you see. So the D notes and the G notes are not there. So in the B major, it's not. So the bass sounds are pretty much in a B major, but the chord pattern here is in a G major. So keep that in mind. So there is quite a bit of mixture of music theory going on this, and that's what makes it so sort of good sounding layers, complexity of layers in slightly two different keys, both in major keys, but they both sort of complement each other. So we can see, as I say, B minor doesn't work here because we've got that G sharp note, or A flat. Let's say G sharp, A flat. Let's go back into our major, and we can see that then these notes then do fit. We'll just play that for you. It looks like there's a little bit of processing going on. Which I can't work out what that's coming from. That could be from Serum by the looks of it. Yeah, there's some sidechain mix on Serum and build up, something else that's going on there. Not sure what that's. I'll build up. That's that plugin there, whatever that is. That must be a reverb build up. Yeah, I can see that automating there. So not sure what's that's causing that and doing that there. I can't help you with that, unfortunately, guys. That might be some processing that's happening on Serum. See, because these tracks are frozen, and even though I don't actually have the plugins, it will freeze the tracks and freeze an audio replica of it in the actual in your folder in the back end of Ableton Live. So it creates an audio imprint so that you can pull it in without the instruments, and frozen tracks are still there, and you can send it to another producer like this. He may not have the same instrument, but you can try and replicate the sounds, and that's what we could do here. Obviously, as I said before, we've got this lead, and let's have a listen, see if we can try and replicate something similar. Oh, wrong button. Let's play this. What we've got here, we've got a lead, so we need a lead sound, a bass lead, so it sounds like there's a bit of an LFO on that lead, so I'd have to sort of go in there and start maybe adding a bit of LFO movement on that sound. Get something a little bit more higher pitched. Yeah, it sounds like it's got an LFO, something tool on it, something that's making it move like that. So you have to sort of try and find out, and I'm not 100% sure at the moment, and I will admit I'm not 100% sure how they've created that lead, so I need to look into more of the sound design. So maybe this is something that I can develop further on from this once I start looking into it a little bit more, because I do want to try and sort of experiment with more music styles rather than just house music and the progressive trance and house that I've done in the past. So this is more, you know, just as much as the learning curve for me as it is you guys, but I'm just sort of giving you a bit of a walkthrough of what's involved in sort of putting this kind of track together. So we can see there's lots of chords going on. Let's break it down. That's my lead. So it sounds to me like there's an LFO going on there, a timed LFO, there's side chain on there. Let's have another listen. There's also some portamento or some pitch bend going on there somewhere as well. I don't think I can get into the parts and have a look. pitch bend. Yeah, unfortunately, because everything's locked out. I can select them. Yeah, I can still select them. So there's no pitch bend movements by the looks of things. So you can see the pattern, how that pattern steps out. And again, we just put the scale on to make sure that we are. Let's see if we're in a B major. Yeah, definitely in a B major on this pattern here. And see if we just go into a minor. This G sharp note does not exist in that scale. So that really does help print in your mind that we've got a B major scale and also some chords. Well, these are sort of like the lead sounds are in B major and the main chords are in G major. So, is there anything else we can go through of interest? Just purely the effects, I think. Again, these are samples and I've used lots of different effects. Let's have a quick listen. So you can see again the layout of all of this. Every 2 bars, look, so every 2 bars there's a stomp sound going on. There's a consistent clap to create energy moving up. Bang of a sound of the stomp sound here, like a reverb kick sound. So all it pretty much is a reverb kick by the sounds of it. Lots of other things going on, a few impacts, rises, the standard things. Sweeps, claps, riser, impact, sub drop there. So that's the user standard building up there, and you can see how it's just spaced around. It really is just very, very sparsely spaced around. We're going to come back to this into 1 bar still, yeah. So you can see that I put in these over 4 bars. Let's come out. You can see literally all of this has been spaced out into 4 bars. So whereas house music, as I said, is like 1 bar, 2 bar, 4 bar, 8 bar loops, 16 bar loops, building up your sections and transitions. This is so sparse. You know, it's quite, in essence, it's quite easy to sort of drop in your effects in those 8 bar sections or 4 bar loops. See, that's like a 4 bar, half of a 4 bar. So they're kind of using half of the other bar, but not quite. So that, you know, in essence, 2 bar loop. We go into a 2 bar, so they're missing the first 2 bars, but then bringing up the effects here. So you know, you can start to build your track with this visualization in mind. In like, okay, I need to put a 4 bar intro here, an effect that's going to last over 2 bars, an effect that's going to last over 2 bars here with a kick. This effect here is an ambience. Literally just a bird ambience. It's you know, it's just all it is. Oh, my CPU's dying a little bit on me. Let's just check my CPU. Yeah, it's okay, it's fine. It's going a little bit slow there. So yeah, I'm just going to turn something down, guys. I'm just going to get a little bit more CPU power back. I've turned my crypto tab miner off, or a little bit down, and yeah, so it's you know, it's that process in mind, just sort of keeping the 4 bar process rather than the 1 bar 2 bar process. Yeah, 2 bars, 4 bars, 8 bars, and you can see that, you know, the track is building. Let's go into an 8 bar, see what's going on in any 8 bar elements. So drop here is over 8 bars pretty much. 1, 2 sections there. Another 8 bar section there. Is that 8 bars? Yeah. So 8 bar section, 8 bar section, 8 bars, 8 bars. Yeah. 8 bars. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Yeah. So this kind of track is just about breathing space by in all essence. So I'm just going to close some of the things down. Let's have a look at some of these basses. I can't do it. Unfortunately, I can't do it because of the section being locked. Is that consolidated? This is being very weird at the moment. Yeah, it has. It's consolidated it. So you can see that's the bass pattern. Slow down. Come on. My computer's being really weird, guys. 1 second. I don't know what's going on here. Something's being weird with the CPU. It's not responding as it should. It's just being really jumpy at the moment. I seem to get into place. Stop it. Okay. So you can see bass pattern, bass tones, and a sub bass. For some unknown reason, this is playing up terrible at the moment. It won't even play. No. Don't know what's going on. Suddenly just stopped on me, guys. Being very weird here. Don't know what's going on. I'm just going to turn this off completely. See if I can get some CPU right back. I don't know what's. It's just literally frozen on me. The whole track has frozen. I can move around, but I've got no playback. That is very odd. So I think on that note, we might as well call it a day. I think I've gone through pretty much everything. No. Says it's playing, but it's not. No. Doesn't want to play ball. Okay, so yeah. Unfortunately, guys, we're going to have to call it a day on that one. I'm not going to reboot this and try and sort of reload it again, just because it's pointless. We've gone through most of the stuff that I wanted to go through. As you can see, it is just a case of building things up over longer sections of bars and pacing your musical elements out. One thing again I wanted to sort of just go over was the sort of the MIDI. You can see the length of the bars again here. They don't start on the actual downbeats, they sort of start on the end of the last sort of beat of the bar there, and they cover into the next section there, then to the half a beat of the bar there, into the next section, which is a full sound. So you can see how it's panning out here. That would be like a chord section, for example. So it's panned out quite sort of sparse, and these elements are dropping almost in time with all of the other percussive elements that they're hitting at the same time. So it's about creating sort of like a crash and a drop, and then a MIDI element that will play out, but the synths are actually sound like they're either arpeggiated or they're automated some way with a kind of LFO on them, so that makes them wobble. In Serum you've got all kinds of different automation, a lot better than Silence to create that kind of sound. So unfortunately I haven't got the right sort of tools really. You need something like Serum or anything very similar to Serum. Maybe, let me think, it's gone out of my mind. The Spire one, and also obviously the Arteria. That's got sort of tools or capabilities of controlling and wobbling the LFOs on a lot greater scale there. So yeah, There we go, guys. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you've got any questions, please do leave them below, and I'll try and answer the questions. I'll try and find out stuff for you. I'll do a little bit more research on Future Bass. As I say, I've not really followed the Future Bass crowd so much. I've occasionally watched the odd one or two tutorials, but this is all new to me, so I just thought I'd do something different while I'm putting together some more content and stuff. And I just came across this template I got on my hard drive, and I thought, well, it'd be nice to sort of go over and do something with this. So yeah, if you've enjoyed that, give us a thumbs up, and I'll see you next week. Take care, guys.